Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 4 of Breaking Bap.
안녕하세요.
Today we have an interesting topic, one I am, to be honest, not so familiar with, but the topic is money. So before we get into that, James will do what he does best and explain what we are eating today.
So today we're gonna eat some of like the Korean street food classics. This is gogi mandu, which is meat dumplings, 단무지, which is pickled radish, tteokbokki, which is Korean rice cakes, japchae, which are Korean glass noodles, and 겉절이, which is Korean fresh kimchi.
Did you know tteokbokki is my favorite food of all time? If I could have one last meal on earth, it would be tteokbokki.
I actually recently found out about Henna. I also recently found out that she does not like cold kimchi, and that's an ick of an ick of hers.
I feel like when I told
Yeah.
you that kimchi was an ick, you were icked by me.
Honestly, I was borderline appalled. I don't know any Korean person that doesn't like kimchi.
Really, it's so much better hot. I think that's what it is. It's so much better stewed and
Yeah.
stir fried. Cold, I feel like it just gives me a stomach ache. I don't know. Just
So this is all for me today.
yeah, that's all for you
Okay.
today. But also japchae is one of maybe top 5 foods for me.
I love japchae. I love all of these Korean street foods, to be honest.
That being said, let's take a
Yeah,
bite
let's take a bite.
before
Okay.
we get into this car. I don't know why I'm more nervous about today's conversation than I was about relationships. Money makes me nervous.
Money is a weird thing to talk about, and I think with Korean people in general, I don't know, like money is such a big part of everyone's lives in terms of like the emphasis. And I don't know if that's true for you actually.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
No.
They're so good.
Let's dig into this.
Very good. How'd you make
You like
this?
it?
How'd you make this?
You'll see it online. I filmed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Pro move to dip the mandu in the tteokbokki sauce.
How's it? You like it?
Good. It's slightly sweet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love mandu.
That is so good. I was hungrier than I thought. I'm glad we're digging into this food first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you saying about money?
What I was saying is that, I don't know, as Korean people, I feel like there's a strong emphasis on money, status, wealth, all of that shenanigans. And I don't know about you, but it was always something that like I heard about growing up
Okay.
as a Korean person. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. I'm really nervous to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable thing to talk about.
My impression of money within like a Korean cultural context is that I feel like growing up there was more emphasis on like prestige, like how you get the money as opposed to like actually reasonable ways of making it. And because my parents never taught me about financial literacy, I don't even think my parents like invest really. I think, and the way that I see a lot of my parents and their generation, like their friends, invest is really just mostly in real estate. Like they definitely don't dabble in the stock market. At least that's my experience.
Yeah. It's like, did your parents never told you to like save?
Well, I mean, they do. I mean, they did try to tell me to save, but they also were not big savers. I don't think it was more so just work hard, make a lot of money, spend it, enjoy your life. And even now, to be honest, like yeah, even now they don't. I mean, they trust that I save money, which I mean we can get into that. But yeah, that was my impression. Is that yeah, like they just don't. I don't consider my parents to be like super financially literate.
That's where I feel like, not that my parents are financially literate, but that's where I feel like we grew up in a very different environment.
Okay.
Where, I don't know, my parents have a really hard time spending money. And they were always about save, save, save. And that was like instilled in my mind. Even to this day, like it's hard for me. Actually, no, it's different when I started making my own money. But even like, as like a student, for example, I would get allowance from my parents. And I like did not spend it all. Like I would always save it. Yeah. Did you get allowance growing up?
Not really. It
For
was
your
more
parents?
so.
You just like ask for money?
It was more so whenever I needed it, they would give it to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to be honest, my mom does. She is spent like okay. My mom likes to spend money.
Okay.
She likes the nice things.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
likes
yeah.
the money, status, power thing. But she also refuses to buy anything full price.
Yeah, everything
You know.
has to be on sale.
Yeah, when we're at the grocery store
Yeah.
and I lose her,
Okay.
I know exactly where to find her. She's in the corner
Yeah.
of like Loblaws or Longos where they have like the
markdowns.
fruit that's like going bad and
Yeah.
they're selling it for like $1. That's where she is. Like she refuses to, and like anytime I buy something, she's always like, how much was that? You know, like, but I do think the economy being a little bit difficult right now is playing a part in that. But for sure, like did your parents teach you how to invest? Or like, did they teach you about stocks or anything like that?
My dad always played around in the market.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't I don't know if they made the best decisions, but they always made the decisions of like when they had savings, they would invest.
Oh.
Yeah. That's just kind of like the environment I guess I grew up in. But yeah, you win some, you lose some, right?
But did they teach that to you, or do they expect you to just learn that on your own?
Well, I went to business school, so that's where I learned how to like invest.
Right.
But I learned it in school, but I would talk to my dad about stocks sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so jealous. Well, one, that you learned that on your own. I never really bothered to really learn about it. And then two, that you have someone close to home that you can talk to about it.
Got it.
Because now, if I have questions about investing, I ask my dad. He's like, "With what money are you?" He's like,
Yeah.
"What are you trying to invest in? Like,
Yeah.
you have no money." And I'm like, "Well, you know, my other friends, they try to save and invest like literally anything, even just like $100. They'd rather invest that."
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "What are you gonna gain by investing $100?"
$100?
And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, true."
You know what though? I'm actually jealous that your parents have that mentality because I feel like because my parents have such a save mentality, even to this day, like they're comfortable now, right? Obviously, it was a different story when they first came to Canada, but I just want them to like enjoy life. You know what I mean? Like I don't want them to think about money.
Are they still like that now? Do they not spend money now?
Like you said, even like okay, if something was $150, let's say. And it was $200 marked down to $150 versus something that was full price at $130. Even though it's like more expensive at $150, my parents would choose the $150.
Right, because it's a better deal.
Yeah, or just like they just love sales.
Yeah.
They just love sales.
But do they spend their money on, like, they go on vacations? Like, do they buy nice things for themselves? Or is it more so, you know, just
honestly,
for
not
the
really.
kids? Oh.
My parents don't. They spend all of their money on their kids, like on me and my sister, ever since we were kids.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Is it I'm so thankful and grateful, but now that I'm older, I just want my parents to spend money on
On
themselves.
themselves, yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't need it.
Yeah, well, like, I don't know if that'll ever change.
And it's such a privileged mindset, and I
It is.
acknowledge that it's so privileged, and I know this is the way it's coming across, but I don't know, it's kind of burdensome. It's like pudam.
Yeah.
You know that word in Korean?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that.
Burdensome.
Burdensome.
It's like a mix of burden and also, what is it? Like a sense of duty, like to give back, sort of. I don't know. I definitely, yeah. I mean, we can get right into like us talking about, because we both came from professional backgrounds. I used to be a lawyer. So you would, you know, so there was a short period of my life where I was making stable money, I
Yeah.
suppose. But I'm
No, you were.
Well,
You don't have to be humble about
no,
it.
but the thing is, I'm $100,000 in debt from student loans. Yeah, like
Law school's expensive.
law school's expensive. I mean, university is expensive. So even if I was making somewhat of a stable income, I barely made a dent in my loan payments.
Yeah.
And then at a time where a lot of my colleagues around my age or my year were busting their asses trying to become like partners and, you know, do the whole adult thing, my life flipped upside down and I became a content creator. And now I make, you know, I would say decent money, comparable to my lawyer salary for sure. But the issue is that a lot of people don't know this, but influencers, our money doesn't come predictably.
No,
I mean,
it's so ambiguous.
It's not even that like, oh, sometimes I don't have work, sometimes I do. Even if I do jobs somewhat consistently, I don't get paid for them like until 3 months later. So financial planning is often very difficult for me. Like there'll be months where I have no income, and then all of a sudden like a ton of money will come in, and I'm like try to play catch up with my bills and all this. Very annoying.
Yeah.
But because my financial status is like that, I feel like the most annoying thing for me is I feel like I can't give back to my parents the way that I want to. You know what I mean?
Like in a consistent way.
In a consistent way.
And that way you can think through
Yeah,
it.
like at this age, like in our 30s, like I always thought by this time I would be able to give my parents somewhat of a like allowance, like a steady allowance, you know,
Yeah.
like all the good Korean kids do. I can't. Like I actually can't.
I'm on the same boat. Like I feel like I'm still taking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and you living at home too,
Yeah.
right? Like my parents come and live
Totally.
with me. Like I feel bad. I
Yeah.
definitely feel bad. I feel like a bit of a failure because of that.
Yeah. No, you shouldn't feel like a failure. They're probably so proud that you're pursuing your passion.
I mean,
You
I
know
think
what
I think they're happy for me, but
Yeah.
I think now they're kind of like 2 years later, they're kind of like,
What is going
okay,
on?
like when's, you know, like
Yeah.
chop chop kind of slowly starting to, or they're like, at least marry rich.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, like if you can't make the money, at least marry rich, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of like their
It's funny you
attitude.
say that. I would rather marry someone that doesn't come from like a wealthy background. And I know that's a hot take.
Why?
From my past relationships, I just have a lot of, I guess, trauma from like family. So
Okay.
basically, like approval. And I feel like if someone comes from a very wealthy background,
Okay.
there's going to be too much pressure, and I just don't want that. I just want to like live between me and my partner, have a family without parents making all the decisions. And I feel like if they come from a very wealthy background,
Right.
they're going to make all the decisions within our family because they have the power to.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That is kind of a hot take.
It's a hot take. I know that, and I know like people are always like, oh, what? Like even though people don't outwardly say it, people
Yeah.
say, oh, like in the back of their minds they want to marry someone that's of affluence, but I would prefer someone that comes from a super humble background, just because of the pressure. I don't want pressure on the relationship. Like marriage is hard as it is.
Yeah. I never even thought
Yeah.
about that. Whoa. To be honest,
Yeah.
I just always in my fantasy world I marry rich, and they're like his family doesn't care. But you're right. Realistically,
Families care.
families care. Especially if you marry into, I think, an Asian family
With money.
with money, Asian family with money, like crazy rich Asian type beat. For sure, they're gonna care. That's a good point, James.
Yeah. Yeah, and I felt it even more when I was living in Korea, because Korea,
Right. They're crazy.
there's so much emphasis about money and status there, right?
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
This is another hot take. I feel like there's still like we're so privileged and we're so lucky to grow up in a North American environment where even though we feel like we grew up in a competitive environment, people in Korea, it's like survival of the fittest still.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a first world country.
But you know why that is? So this isn't even a hot take.
Yeah,
This is
no,
like
please.
literally facts.
Yeah, okay, tell us.
After the war, after Korea gained independence from Japan, that war, I think Korea underwent the fastest industrialization, like in the shortest amount of time in human history. So in 50 years, just 50 years, they went from being like a third world country to being like comparable in terms of development to like places in the West. And you can only imagine what that does to a country's like psyche in 50 years. Imagine just how like tough the competition had to be, how hard people had to work in order to go from that to that in such a short period of time. And I think that has stuck with Korea.
Yeah.
And now, and you know, instead of doing this, they went like this. So from here, they can only go up from here, right? Like,
They still have the survival mentality.
yeah, it actually is survival of the fittest, even though, you know, it is much more comfortable now.
Yeah.
And I think that is why there is such a strong emphasis on money, status, power. Even when we when we go back to the episode we filmed last week about Korean beauty standards, like you need to be beautiful in Korea to have a competitive edge.
It's on, like your picture is on your resume.
Yeah.
Like there's like a square picture on the corner of your
Yeah.
resume that's a picture of yourself.
Like it is very common for parents to gift their children plastic surgeries when they graduate from high school so that they have an upper edge when it comes to hireability. Like,
Yeah.
and that all just plays back into what I just talked about like that really fast development period.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it comes from. And it's just interesting when like our parents, they grew up in that environment, then they come here.
Yeah.
And that's why I think for them, it's not so much about saving money, investing, it's more so about become successful, like, become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, because to them it's like a foolproof way of securing both money and power.
Do you care about earning a lot of money?
I mean,
Like, does money have is it a lingering thought in your head?
it has been more so in the last 2 years since I became a content creator, for sure.
Got it.
Because when I was a lawyer, even though like I wasn't making as much as people assume, I just figured one day I would. If I just do the lawyer thing, like I'll be comfortable.
Yeah.
But now that I don't have that, and now that my income is based purely on like my performance as a entertainer, like an influencer, like, yeah, it's a little scary for sure.
Yeah. But clearly it doesn't have that big of a chokehold on you, because if it did, then you would still have pursued that lawyer path.
Well, yeah, but
You know?
but I also think being so mentally unhealthy was the biggest push. Like,
Got it.
if I didn't have the mental health issues I did at the time, I think maybe money would have been more important to me. But I think I just got to a point where nothing was worth my mental health. Like, nothing was worth my health, not all the money in the world. And that's what I try to live by.
That's amazing.
But
Yeah.
for sure, I like nice things.
Yeah.
I want to be comfortable.
Totally.
Like, I want to make money. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But more than me having nice things, I just want to be able to take care of my family.
Got it. So you want to be wealthy for taking care of your family.
Yeah, isn't same for you, no?
Yeah.
Because you don't strike me as a very like materialistic person.
I used to be very materialistic.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, in what way?
Brands. I loved brands.
Really?
Like,
Interesting.
it's not like it would be like screaming like a brand name, but I
Yeah.
I would only wear try to wear brand name.
Wow.
Yeah, even if it was like subtle.
I
For
can't
sure.
imagine.
Yeah,
that.
I was materialistic. And that's just like the environment that I grew up in. Like the high school that I went to,
Right.
the university,
Right.
the industry that I was working in. Like, you know what I mean? It was just very, you needed not you needed, but there was a certain uniform that most people had. Yeah.
So what changed?
Honestly, me going to Korea. So basically, I was working remotely, and I wanted to move to Korea, so I had to take 100% pay cut. So basically,
100% pay cut?
yeah, is it a 50% pay cut or 100%? So basically, my salary got cut in half, more than half.
Okay.
Actually, I was earning maybe 35% of what I was earning back in Canada.
Wow,
To work
okay.
corporate in Korea, but I
Okay.
just really wanted to live in Korea.
Okay.
So that's kind of when money lost its chokehold over me. And then when I became a creator, yeah, like I was earning $0 at one point. You know what I mean?
course,
So, yeah, I went from a very like consistent, high-paying job to moving to Korea, where the salaries are quite low, and then earning $0. So,
But I know your parents are very supportive of you now, and we discussed in the first episode that when you decided to become a creator, you told them that you were taking a little break.
Yeah.
That was the plan initially. How about now? Are they happy with how much money you're making? Do they expect you to make more so that you can do the adult things like take care of them or start a family of your own someday? Like, do they ever talk to you about your...
no, we
Really?
never talk about money in our house. We were never allowed to talk about money.
Not allowed? What do
No,
you mean not allowed?
my parents are like, we're not talking about money. Like, it's just like a very hush hush thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you never know. Do you know how much your parents make?
No, I don't know anything about my parents' finances at all.
Wow.
But they know everything about mine, and they always did. And it's because I always felt like I needed to seek their approval. Yeah.
I recently...
Do you know how much your parents
No,
earn?
I recently found out.
Okay.
And it was like shocking to me.
Okay.
I don't know why it was so shocking to me.
Does it make okay?
Like, I was just kind of like...
Yeah.
That, like, it makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my dad worked so hard, our whole lives to take care of us. And, my brother's still a student. I'm doing this now. So, and through that, my dad he's still working. He makes enough to take care of himself, my mom, and Ricky. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm 100% self-sufficient, especially right now. I think I'm like maybe 70% self-sufficient.
But
so
you can be 100%. It's not like you need.
I mean, it would
their
be
help, right?
tough. It would be
Oh, it would
tough.
be,
It
okay.
would be tough for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I recently learned how much my dad makes, and it just it made me see him in a different light for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we don't have to get into
Yeah,
that.
well, no, but which is why I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, is it healthy? Is it healthy to know what your parents earn? Is it healthy to know about their finances?
I have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to know if you're going to have to take care of your parents in the future or not.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't be making certain decisions in my life right now if I knew I had to take care of my parents, to be completely honest. I would have probably stayed at my old job. Yeah. But in that aspect, it's very normal for Korean kids to take in your parents or your in-laws and take care of them, like, financially. I think it's an Asian tradition, actually, or like a cultural.
Yeah. I think, well, at least
Yeah.
what I know is my parents, so my dad is the only son.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, my dad's the only son. So at some point when my grandparents got to a certain age, there was this expectation that my grandparents would either move in with my dad, my parents, but instead my parents moved to Korea, and they do this whole like 6 months there, 6 months here thing to take care of them. It's called hyodo in Korean, but I think it is a responsibility bestowed upon the men.
Yeah.
Right, typically. But or like the
Usually
oldest,
the oldest son.
or the oldest child.
Yeah.
So in my case, it'll probably be me until Ricky gets a job and does that. But yeah, like, is that an expectation your parents have of you?
No. To be completely honest, because I know that I don't have to take care of my parents, yeah, that's why I feel like I could just live this life of being a creator, you know? I think I would have made very different decisions if I had to take care of my parents.
And
Yeah.
to be honest, like, it is stressful. Like, I
It's
remember
so stressful.
I remember being in high school, like, really stressed out because I felt like I needed to be successful in order. My only reason for wanting to be successful was, well, for their approval, but also to be able to take care of them. And like, for a high school kid, like, I was like 16, to feel that type of burden, to feel that type of way, I don't think is very healthy. I am all for like family, and I subscribe to a more familial type culture for sure. I'm definitely not like individualistic, but putting that kind of expectation on your kids or making them feel any type of way about that, I wouldn't say is healthy. That's not something that's part of Korean tradition that I think I'll be carrying forward in my own family.
Especially at a young age.
Like, I would never want my kids to feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just need to go back. I feel like I came across very privileged in my comment before.
Which one?
Of just like not having to take care of my parents.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify that, like, my parents worked really hard, right? And it's not like they had a glamorous job, right? Like, they had convenience stores, right? And they built that up, but at the same time, like, you know, like, you're selling chocolates, you're selling cigarettes, like, it's not a glamorous situation, right? So yeah, like, I just want to like put that out there that it is like a testament to their hard work, and I don't want to like be like, oh, I'm this like privileged guy.
Yeah.
Even though I acknowledge that I'm privileged.
Yes, we both are.
Yeah.
Very. Like, the fact that I'm even doing this.
Yeah, I think very, being a creator is a privilege.
It is absolutely a privilege.
That's an option.
And honestly, like the money we make doing this and the freedom it gives us aside,
Yeah.
we are also very privileged to have great supportive parents, which is not the case for a lot of people, especially, I think, more traditional Korean families, Asian families.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get DMs from younger people, like high school seems like, and they always ask me, like, how did you tell your parents that you were going to quit being a lawyer? Like, I'm so scared to, like, talk to my parents about what I really want to do. Like, I want to try influencing, but like, my parents wouldn't let me do that, or like I get those types of DMs once in a while, and it really puts into perspective like, yeah, I am very lucky.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's funny you say that because there's this younger creator that asked me, hey, like, I want to pursue content creation. Do you encourage it? And honestly, I don't think people realize that you need to have an understanding of what your long-term goals are when you make this decision. Like, for example,
I don't have an understanding of my
no,
long-term
but like,
goals.
you know what I mean? Just like if you want to buy a house.
Yeah, right, okay.
Because you don't have a steady income, you don't have
Right.
like that T4 slip, you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. Like, you know what I mean? There's like things that you need to think about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I just kind of wanted to like
Stress.
share that knowledge with these, like, because a lot of these creators are very young, right? And like I'm not wise or at all, but like it's just something that like I feel like people need to understand, like a holistic view of being a creator. Yeah.
Maybe you should make some content about that so I can take notes. Because I don't know.
I have nothing to offer.
This is what I
honestly, at
mean.
that
I
point.
kind of like, I don't resent my parents for
Yeah.
not, helping me become more financially literate. I resent myself for it. Like, I feel like I just float around like la la la. Like, I make money, I pay my taxes, I spend money. Like, I feel like I need to be more strategic with my money. Like, I'm actually getting stressed.
no, don't be stressed.
就是换的.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But that's what I mean. Like, it's I need.
Maybe this wasn't the right topic to talk about today, because now I'm starting to get a little bit of indigestion.
No, but it's actually so funny because yesterday I was just having this conversation with my boyfriend.
Say it one more time.
I was having this conversation with my boyfriend about how, like, to be honest, before dating,
Yeah.
like the last whole year, I never really thought about money because I was just kind of like, I'm in my healing era, I'm in my figuring it out era. I'm sure it'll work out. But now that I'm like thinking more, okay, if I do want to get married,
Yeah.
if I do want to have kids, if I do want to do these things, right now is definitely the time for me to be saving money. That hit me all at once, like last week.
But don't you feel like it's starting a life together? Like, you don't have to have it all figured out.
Yes, but I want to do my part. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely don't want to go into a marriage with $100,000 in debt. I'd rather pay that off. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what? I know a lot of people, like, once they entered a partnership, yeah, they paid each other's debt off. You know what I mean? And I feel like, yeah, that's normal. It's so normal.
is that normal?
Well, I know so many people that have done that. Yeah. And
Would
it's about, like,
you?
starting, like,
Would
yeah,
you?
100%. I would pay off my partner's debt
Oh,
if I could. 100%.
That's so nice.
Because it's like you're starting a life together, and if there's
Right.
like that like inequality,
Right.
then like you're not going to be set up for success as a pair, as a
Right.
unit, right?
So, you know what? Going back to like Koreans and their obsession with like money, power, status, and success,
Yeah.
how do you define success?
You know what?
Do you consider yourself successful right now?
I feel like I'm on the path of being successful,
Oh, okay.
and it's not monetary. It's
Okay.
not monetary at all. Like,
Oh, okay.
I don't consider success with money. Like,
Okay.
I find that if I see someone that has a sense of purpose and I could see that, I just like latch onto them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what like I strive for. And the
Okay.
fact that like I'm forcing myself to have that mentality, like purpose, that's what I'm like striving for. And because like it's something that I train myself to kind of remind myself of, I feel like I'm on the path to success because money isn't that big of a focus for me.
So
And I think it will come.
having a purpose. What would you consider your purpose?
Honestly, not to like this might sound very uncomfortable for the viewers, but it became biblical for me. Yeah. And that's kind of why. So I grew up in the church. I stopped going to church for like 10 years. Oma, Appa, if you're watching this.
Do they know?
Yeah. I mean, I think
Okay.
they should know. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, it's a journey. It's a journey. Life is a journey. I stopped going to church for a really long time, and that's what I was lacking. I was lacking a lot of purpose, value, and I feel like it taught me a lot about like empathy and just it taught me what like values were, and it just kind of kept me rooted. Yeah.
So your purpose is to live, or I don't know. I'm not religious. How would you describe, like, what would you describe as your purpose in life? To live by the Bible?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It would be.
Okay.
Yeah. As like a child of God and to spread the word. And I know that's like a very that's like my core purpose as a human being, but there's obviously like other avenues and like other that's kind of like the nucleus, but there's like I have fingers too. You know what I mean?
Right. So okay, sorry. The camera cut out again.
It's all good.
Our signature Breaking Bap move.
It's a learn in progress kind of situation here.
Yeah. So we'll just take it from what were we talking about?
I'm not too sure, but new question.
Okay.
So in your most recent trip to Korea, did you have like a new perspective on like Koreans' take on money?
You know what? I did, just because when I first left my lawyer job to do this, obviously my family here was very supportive. In fact, everyone here in the West has been very much understanding of like why I made that decision. The whole mental health is everything. The whole health is everything. That mentality is very well understood in the West, despite mental health still being a bit taboo. But then I went to Korea, and then when I try to explain to Korean people there, whether it's my relatives or like just like random people, they look at me like I'm crazy.
For sure.
They're like, "You left lawyering to do what? Like to what do you do, like to make videos?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like," and people are like, "Oh, that's cool," and everything. And then I explain to them, "Oh, it's because I was so unhappy and I needed to take care of my health." And I thought that would click. But they're like, they don't understand, because I think the reality is in Korea, a lot of people do sacrifice their mental and physical well-being in order to make money. And
to work at the places that, we both work.
Right, exactly, to get to where we were. And I think they think the suffering is inevitable and also a crucial part of the grind.
For sure.
And so
it's perseverance.
Exactly. Perseverance. So that's why when you quit to do something else, I think they think I'm just like a little weakling or something. I do feel that way, and then it kind of hit me this time I was in Korea, like, yeah, you know what, like money means something else here for sure.
Yeah. And it's not just you. My family did the exact same. Guarantee most families or most people in Korea will think what we're doing is insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because there are influencers in Korea, but they're like on another level. Like they're like almost like celebrities. Like it's like they have like production companies. Like it's like very intense. They have like outfit people, wardrobe people. It's very celebrity like a real job. Here it's more. It feels more like entrepreneurial, like do it yourself.
We're normal
that type
people.
of just normal people sharing their lives. But for sure in Korea, I think it means something else. Yeah, it was a little disheartening. Yeah, I will say.
I mean, like even in like when I was living in Korea for the past year and a half, every single new person that I met, the first thing that they'll ask is, "Where do you live?" And then they go even as specific as, "What apartment building do you live?"
That is so
Korean.
interesting.
It's
so Korean. Here it's like the equivalent is like, "What do you do for work?" Right? Like, what do you do? But in Korea it's like, "Where do you live?"
Like, I don't even know what my building's name is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when I lived in Toronto, I was like, okay, I actually do know what it is, but I never had to bring that up to anyone.
Because in Korea, like the neighborhoods are all known for how like affluent they are, like specifically apartment building names.
For sure.
Like my parents will like say, "Oh, that person lives in like whatever building," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Who cares? But
now I know all the apartment buildings names. I know like 10 apartment building names in Korea.
Yeah, because they're.
And
just
I wish I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, why do I have this? Why is it in my brain?
Yeah, that's true. It's just such a different world over there.
Yeah.
That when I come back, went from my trips, like I'm a little relieved a little bit just to be like away from that very like intense competitive environment. But
Yeah.
again, and I said this in the last episode, Korea is the way that it is, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I do hope that it'll get to a point, because Korean people, their mental health is terrible.
Yeah.
We'll film a whole episode on mental health another time, but I know for a fact that Korean people, their mental health is not great.
Yeah.
And it's not, mental health is so stigmatized. Going to see like a therapist is so taboo. But in a hyper competitive environment like that, you can only imagine how unwell people are. And I really hope that it gets to a point where, yes, money and progress is important, but we really should be prioritizing our health first and foremost, because the health of a nation depends on the health of its people, right?
For sure. I feel like we're making it come across that like Korean people are like obsessed with money and like, which I think there is a strong emphasis on money, but they're actually very generous people too.
Yeah.
Like it's a very common thing for Korean people to fight for the bill. Like, you know what I mean? They're also very generous people.
But sometimes I think, hot take.
Yeah. Is it because they want to flex?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like hot take. I feel like sometimes when Koreans fight for the bill, it's a show. Yeah, a flex for like of like how much money they have. You know what I mean? Like
do you do that? Do you like?
No, I do it because I know it's like expected of me.
Yeah,
I feel like if I don't do it, it's rude. But I feel like sometimes, especially with like my parents' friends or like just like these random ajumma ajushis, it's more so like it's do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like I can afford this.
Yeah, we are Koreans are very like we are generous. I think generosity is deeply embedded within our culture. But
it's like always you're gonna serve food like when someone enters the house, like generous people.
Right, but sometimes I do feel like that's more so out of tradition than it is like a genuine kindness thing. Yeah. Is that a hot take? Probably.
I mean, it's not a hot take. I could see where you're coming from.
And that's why, to be honest, that's part of the reason why we stopped going to church, because every Sunday it felt like a competition amongst my mom and her friends to see like, oh, like how are their husbands doing at work? Like how did they buy a new house? What school do their kids go to?
For
like,
sure.
Oh, your kid became a doctor? Like it became that. Yeah. And I think that's why we stopped going.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of it is that.
Yeah, Koreans like exclusive groups as well. They like being...
We love comparing ourselves to others.
Love comparing.
Love it.
No, but more than that, Koreans love comparing their kids with other people's kids. That's one thing where I never want that for my kids. Yeah.
Me too.
Did your parents compare you to other kids?
Of course. Duh. When I became, and I will say, when I became a lawyer, and this was also an interesting, where I was like, I feel like my parents, they're traditional, but they're also a little more progressive, more liberal, more Canadian.
It seems like it.
But when I became a lawyer, like they were so happy to tell their friends. They were humble about it for sure. But I just know that they were so happy to tell their friends. Like my grandparents were so happy to brag to their friends. Like it was, even though I wasn't even making that much money, to be honest, and even though I didn't do very well in law school, like I wasn't a very good lawyer. The fact that I became a lawyer was just like enough for my parents my family to feel like, okay, like we made it, which is. Now, my grandparents still don't know that I left law to do this. Yeah, every time they call me, they're like, "How much money are you making now?
Oh, really?
What how's work?"
Are they in Korea?
Yeah, okay. Like, are you going to court lately? And I'm like,
Yeah, I wouldn't tell them.
Right?
Yeah. It's like ignorance is bliss at that point.
It's pointless.
It's pointless. It's truly pointless.
Yeah, but it does like really strike home. Like it really hits home for me, just how much they care about money, status, power.
Yeah. Wild.
To the point that I have to lie about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I found really shocking actually about my most recent trip to Korea is that so have you heard of Apgujeong Rodeo?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so on Rodeo, right? There's like it's kind of like the Beverly Hills of Korea.
So fun.
Where there's like a lot of nice cars, right? Did you hear about that? Where like people were renting cars just to like flex in that area.
No.
But then if you rent a car, you have a different license plate number.
Oh.
So then that got caught on. So once that caught on, Do you know like an app like Turo
True.
in like Toronto, or like I think it's a North American app where
Is
you can
it
rent
rent
cars from
cars?
other
Okay.
people.
Okay.
So now you can rent cars from other people, and they don't have that like specific license plate.
Oh my God.
And like that's the new thing that I heard.
Just to be able to pretend that you drive a nice car.
Yeah, I mean flex culture is real. Flex culture is real.
What does that do for you though?
Honestly, that's probably how you find like a partner. And you know what?
And then what? You return the car and then you're like, sorry.
It's like, oh, like yeah, I guess.
What? That's so...
Yeah, but like it's really traditional where like I feel like Koreans aren't even getting married these days because the guy has to provide the house. That's like very traditional. And like guys can't afford a house, and like girls won't marry guys unless they can provide a house. You know that was a thing, right?
No.
Yeah, that's like a very Korean thing. Like Korean guys need to be able to like have an apartment.
I thought, oh. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot of expectation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really, wow. So, no chance. Like, we would not have a fighting chance in Korea. Pretty much. That's,
Yeah, it's a tough world out there.
It really, no, it really is. I love being Korean. I love my country, all that. But I'm really glad that
I mean, after this podcast, people are gonna think that we don't. I love being Korean. I love Korean culture.
Me too. Me too. But I'm really glad that I get to experience my culture in a more, what's the word? Forgiving
Less
environment,
pressure.
like
Less pressure.
Canada, for sure. For sure. Which is probably why Koreans think I'm a little weakling. They're just like, I couldn't handle being a lawyer, so I just quit my job and wow. That's actually probably what they think.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
No, I know that's how they think. But I just think that I'm sure it'll get better. I just have to believe that it'll get better.
Also, like, people don't care as much as you think. You know what I mean? People are just trying to live their own lives and like make it on their own. You know?
Koreans or just people? Because I feel like Koreans actually care. Like they actually keep tabs. They're like,
Yeah, maybe I'm just hopeful.
I think you are too.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think you are too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that being said, oh my gosh, I really need to get my tax season's coming up. You still need to introduce me to your accountant, please.
Oh yeah, I just filed my taxes today actually.
You did? I haven't even touched it.
I'll introduce you to my accountant. He's great.
Thank you, please. Like actually. Whew.
Anyways, how are you feeling? Are you pretty full or?
I'm full.
I'm full
I'm
too.
full and I'm a little bit indigested.
Yeah,
just 'cause,
talking about money.
talking about money is always so stressful.
Yeah.
And but honestly, James, and for people watching this podcast, the last thing we want to do is like stress you out. The last thing we want to do is make you feel like any type of way about. Everyone has their journey. Shameless plug. You can follow me to see like if I make it or not, if I make it in this world or not. Because I'm not kidding. I literally don't know what I'm doing with my life. But
I don't either.
But part of it is figuring it out and paving the way for others to also give themselves a chance to figure it out.
Yeah. If there's one like thing that you want to tell people about their relationship with money or, a new perspective of money that you had, is there anything that you want to share?
A new perspective of money. Honestly, you will never. Well, obviously, you'll never feel like you have enough ever. But especially when you are just figuring it out. For me, the way I see money is as long as I can pay off my basic necessities, I'm so much happier and have so much more energy doing the things I want to do that it's easier to make money.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's easier to make money when you're happy. Yeah. As opposed to, because like I said, when I was lawyering, was making money, but it was so hard to get to work. It was so hard to wake up every day, and I would never make. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have made it as like a partner. Like I would not be a very good lawyer. But now that I'm like happy doing what I'm doing, money comes in.
Yeah.
Money comes in, and you just have to trust.
Trust the process.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'll keep this short and concise, and it's going to sound so cheesy, but it's honestly just to seek purpose and not seek money, because money will come along. And I confidently believe that. I confidently believe that.
Seek purpose, not money. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Great.
All right. With that.
With that, that wraps up this episode. As always, please do let us know what you want to see us talk about.
Yeah.
No more money topics, please. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like I actually, we need to start brainstorming more ideas for sure. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know what you want to see us eat.
And please comment. Like, we actually read all of the comments on our videos, so
Maybe not some of the mean ones, but
people have been kind of mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, to both of us, But we have thick skin.
yeah, yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah. All right. Thank you
right.
guys for watching, guys.
Thank you. Until we eat again. Bye.